What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Legislative Director, talking about legislative things. She is currently undefeated in a game of tic-tac-toe that just took place. Legislative Director Amber Marr. With her, as always, not the Legislative Director Jason Topsy, with also, I'm told, a filthy computer.
I can't even see my face. I look over here at the screen and it's like...
It's gross. Yeah, I gotta do something about that.
I just said your computer is so dirty.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
we'll work on that.
When you use it, it's well used.
Yeah, there we go. It's experienced, is what it is. Amber.
Oh.
Welcome back to the show. Not that you ever left it. We are
Where did I go?
We still have the balloons are still up because the celebration continues. It is now 1:02 for this. So imagine this is a 2 and not a 0. We'll update that at some point in time. But look, It's been a week, and
I can't believe it's just now Thursday.
Yes, as per usual, we are recording this on a Thursday.
The weeks have been flying by.
February went by quickly. March, pretty much over.
This week?
Yeah, it's. I'm scared about April. So
I just cannot believe we're still on this week. Anyway.
Here, check your mic real quick. I got a little note here. We're gonna keep it rolling though while you check that out.
It kind of sounds like she is. Oh, let me see. It's not on.
Okay, that's fine. We'll keep it rolling. She's gonna turn it on now, and we'll be fine. Usually I ask those things.
I'm sorry. Is that better?
She can still hear you.
Okay.
So that's good.
Okay. Now we fixed it.
That is much better, of course. Love it. Thank you for Anna, as per usual, and for all of you for working through us or working with us as we go through these.
Like I said, this is just par for the course.
It's been a week.
Yes.
So let's dive into it because we have a robust agenda. Again, look, these episodes, they're maybe getting a little bit long, but I'm telling you, full of good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep it rolling because we have another special interview at the end of the show, so stick around for that. A lot to talk about. Some other things happening, fast facts, all the good stuff. That's the rundown of the show.
I was doing this for the interview because I thought it was something. I thought it was the thing I didn't know about.
Oh.
But this is the thing I know about.
Yeah, you know about that. But there is something that we're going to show here later.
Because if Niki sees my face when you said an interview at the end, I literally was like...
Yeah. Because last time I said we got an interview with a surprise guest, it was Amber's parents. Yeah. Then last week we had Dan Spieler on.
Sorry.
This week, another special guest. Don't want to spoil it.
Oh,
but she's fantastic.
Might have already done it.
Yeah, you already did it.
Sorry.
It's Niki Kelly with the Indiana Capital Chronicle. She's great.
But I didn't want her to think I was rolling my eyes.
I get it.
Okay.
You can roll your eyes in a little bit before that interview with something special.
Great. Now that's what I thought it was coming.
There it is.
All right.
There it is.
Moving on.
All right. So let's kick it off. Start of the week.
Yes.
Our volunteer legislative team met virtually. And what was it that we chatted about?
So we were working on House Bill 1391, which is services for the aged and disabled. And we have not been able to get a hearing for the bill yet. It is currently in the Senate Health and Provider Services Committee. And we only have this week. Oh, no, we've got 2 more. Yeah, we've already had this conversation. Okay. So we got
2 more weeks.
All of next week and then 1 more week. So 2 more weeks of committee hearings, and then it's committee hearing deadline or committee report deadline. So we really need to get a hearing on House Bill 1391 before then. And what does this bill do? Well, it is talking about the CHOICE program, which actually stands for the Community and Home Options to Institutional Care for the Elderly and Disabled program.
It's a lot.
It is our closest initiative to a Medicaid diversion program. And the CHOICE program is actually administered through the area agencies on aging. We have 16 AAAs across the state that provide that help individuals get on the CHOICE program, which is essentially a home and community-based service program to help people stay in their homes and communities. So that includes adult day services, transportation, meal delivery, all of those things. And this piece of legislation is intended to actually make the choice program a true Medicaid diversion program by doing a pilot. So it's going to evaluate how home modifications and chronic care services offered by specific AAAs can help lower Medicaid costs. Under House Bill 1391, FSSA also allows Maximus, which is the enrollment broker for Indiana's Pathways for Aging program, which is our managed care program here in Indiana, that is for individuals age 60 and over, to subcontract with the AAAs for the level of care assessments for a smoother transition. There's a lot of other things in here. One of the things we just want to say is that there is a comprehensive review of the AAA service areas to identify potential updates and improvements, because we know that there are some inconsistencies and we need to explore some necessary reforms to enhance delivery efficiency for the consumer. And so this is why we are very supportive of 1391. We want Hoosiers to receive the quality of care and service that they deserve. And we know that by looking at all of this, it will hopefully help with that.
Okay. So we're going to keep on working to try to get that a hearing before time runs out.
We wanted to
on
get
this session.
Yes, Representative Clear is the author of it. Excuse me. But now that it's in the Senate, it's Representative Good, Senator Brown, and I'm sorry. The sponsors in the Senate are Senator Good, Senator Brown, Senator Lakeisha Jackson.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. The only bill that we testified on this week is the next thing we're going to talk about. House Bill 1587.
Yes, 1587 is
insurance matters.
Yes. This has the mobile integrated health language in it. We do not have a position on anything else in the bill. There were a lot of changes made to it, but not to our section. And this would just allow private insurer, it would allow for private insurance to cover mobile integrated health services outside of a 911 call.
Cool.
To, again, help people stay in their homes and communities.
Yes.
So it's very ironic that we're working on 1391 and talking about 1587.
Look, it's we want people to stay in their homes and communities for as long as possible.
Yes.
Both of these bills that we've talked about help do that. And there's Ambre testifying in committee. Great work, by the way.
It did go very fast because they wanted to.
Yeah, they were moving through things. You dropped something there. It might have been a marker cap.
Got it.
We got it. Yeah.
But we appreciate Senator Baldwin, who is the chairman of the Insurance and Financial Institutions Committee in the Senate, for hearing it, and Representative Carbaugh, who is the author.
Yep.
And there were a couple more individuals.
Yeah, I encourage you also to go to aarp.org/IN to Healthcare the Hoosier Way, that video series that we have of both Monticello and Crawfordsville. Good stuff there. It's also on our YouTube page. Go check it out.
I will say, I wanted to give a shout out because I'm not going to get this right.
Okay.
I wanted to give a huge shout out to Crawfordsville and the mayor.
Yes.
And the mobile integrated health program there. So shout out to Sam as well.
Yeah.
And Chief Miller. But we understood the day we were hearing this bill in committee, which was just yesterday.
Was that yeah, that was yesterday.
Okay.
That was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Wednesday.
They were on their way to
some sort of conference.
Because they have been,
I think they were being recognized. I'll fill in the blanks. They were being recognized as the
I know I'm not going to get it right.
Top, or not top, or just, I don't know, the gold standard, if you will, of the mobile integrated health across the country.
Yes. And Ryan from RJL Solutions that testified on their behalf, he said this, and I thought that's amazing. So we mentioned to the legislators about this video that we have, because if they wanted to see Crawfordsville's program, they could go and watch that video.
An award-winning program.
Yes, that's what I think they said.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
anyway.
There we go. Pass out of the committee, no problems.
Unanimously.
Awesome.
Wait, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Pretty sure.
This is what I'm saying about this week. We've been living in day upon day that seems like weeks upon weeks in a day. Anyway.
That is.
And yet I still can't remember what happened.
That is the common theme. Okay. Then the last thing, a little preview for next week.
I feel like you're going really fast.
It's because, look, there's a lot of good stuff that we got to get to.
I'm feeling rushed.
We have new tools to help us for Anna's Fast Facts that we're coming to. But the next thing is little preview. Senate Bill 147 next week, right?
Not 147.
It's not 147? 142. I can't read my own handwriting.
Is it?
I think it's 142. It's not 147.
It's definitely not 147.
It's 142. My 7 looked like a 2, or my 2 looked like a 7.
It is 142.
It's 142.
It's eviction issues.
And you could tell that it was a little pause on producer Anna's side of things. She put it up on the screen. I said the wrong number. She took it right down because she thought she had made a mistake, and no, it was mine. So thank you for that, Anna, and Amber for catching my poor handwriting. What that is. So this is. I made the joke earlier when you said that this bill was going to get a hearing that I had to look it up. And obviously didn't do a good job. But it has been so long since we talked about this bill because this is the one that you testified on the first day of session.
Yes.
And it's now receiving a hearing in the House.
Yes. I'm not sure why it has taken so long. But again, remember, it was amended in the Senate, and the bill is essentially what the law is now. So we're hopefully going to get it restored to its original version as it passed out of the Senate committee.
Yes.
So this is about eviction issues. We'll go more into it next week because we'll have more of an update, because right now it really doesn't change anything. So we were very supportive of it when it was heard in Chairman Liz Brown's committee, and then it got amended on second reading. And then here we are.
Here we are.
So we will probably have to say testimony like, hey, I mean, it doesn't change anything than what is already in effect currently. What we would like it to see is to be restored. So that's probably what we're going to have to say. Anyway.
Let's see what happens on Monday. Stay tuned.
Yes, it's
for that.
Let's see. It's in judiciary, just like it was in the Senate.
Okay.
So let's see. Who?
Keep scrolling.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh, it's Representative Chairman Jeter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been a minute since we've been in that committee.
I know we haven't been in there for a minute.
Yeah.
Been a minute and haven't been in there for a minute. Yeah. Sorry.
Minutes gone by.
Okay.
Haven't been there.
I know you're trying to rush. Moving right along.
Now we're going to come to Amber's favorite part of the show, everybody's favorite part of the show. It is time for Fast Facts with Anna. Little switch it up. Anna.
I couldn't hear you if you're trying to let everybody know.
What's going on? Yeah, there was some new sound effects there. So appreciate Anna doing that. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
We are fantastic. I think we're mostly excited about. We have some dry erase boards now.
Yes.
With our answers for your fast facts. Let's put the big board up there and see.
Ooh,
Amber Marr is starting to pull away a little bit.
I have 8
to 6.5 for me, and it's because of look. We talked about bad decisions earlier. This is me never going to go with the multiple choice. I'm always just going to guess, and we're going to see what happens.
I think that's a poor decision.
Well, it's a theme. Let's Anna, what do we have going on today?
All right. So this week, 2 questions. One about emergency medical services. And the second one has to do with a little trip down memory lane to continue our 100 episode celebration.
I also don't know what it is, so I don't know why I'm applauding.
Never mind. I'll wait for it.
I will say, I think maybe this trip down memory lane is the hardest of our 100 related questions yet.
Okay. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first one,
Yes.
how many times per day are emergency medical services or EMS provided to Hoosiers?
How many times? Is this
Statewide?
Yeah.
Yes, statewide. So across the state. And as always, multiple choice.
Oh.
There are options. And we'll do what we did last time. If you take
You can take the multiple choice.
if you decide to do it without, we'll just take the answer that you were closest to of the multiple choice.
What if they're really far off?
We'll deal with that if that happens.
Oh my
But I think this really
not even
highlights the need for the mobile integrated health.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, I'm going to go back with my
How
original
many
answer.
times per day are emergency medical services provided to Hoosiers?
On average, per day.
Yes.
Okay, I am actually going to take a number off of that. I feel like that was too high.
Way.
Okay. I'll just stop here. We're going to go.
I'm trying to remember how many runs that just in the areas that we have videoed their mobile integrated health programs.
Recall.
I'm trying to remember what they've told us that they do on a daily basis.
I'm thinking I'm going to lowball it here, but that's all right. I got mine.
I still think that's too high.
I got mine.
Okay.
I'm
ready for multiple choice.
Do you want to share your answer first, JT?
Can you see it?
627.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So then our multiple choice options are 1,
That is
2,
higher than I thought.
3, or 4,000.
I would have been way off if I went with my original answer.
So we will give you A as your
A is mine, I guess.
option.
For this option. For this game's purposes.
I think I'm going to do. Those numbers are higher than I expected.
For me,
I think I'm going to do B. 2,000.
2,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so Amber is 2,000, JT is 1,000. 2,000! Amber's on a roll.
It's because the 3 and 4 were just too high, and the 1,000. After thinking that you had those numbers up there, I was like, 1,000 seems too small.
You know.
But I had originally thought if I was going to put a number down, it would have been in the 200s. So I was
wow.
I was very low.
That is very low.
My original number was like over 6,000.
It was.
So you guys swung on opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Correct.
Look, all that matters is that she still got it right. I still got it wrong.
And I thought this was really interesting. That is across over 800 provider agencies, 2,000 plus ambulances across the state, and 24,000 plus service providers. So.
Okay.
Crazy.
It's a lot.
That's a good one.
Now,
congratulations again on that question.
I just love that this is a question, though, because this, like you said, it just really goes to show how important it is that we're working on these mobile integrated health programs.
I agree completely.
Okay.
All right, let's see this hard one now.
I need to preface this that I need you to promise that when I show you this slide, you're not going to fire me.
Well, the good thing is we don't have that authority.
Okay, cool. So the next question, I dug deep into the archives for this from episode 1.
Ah, yes. You look at that. Look at that.
That's from episode 1 and 2. But what were your top 3 priorities that you listed in the first episode on January 15th, 2018? I will give you 1 point per answer if you can get these right.
2018?
What do you think you were working on as your top priorities?
Those pictures are, wow. I'm distracted by that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to me.
I don't know. In 2018.
I think you need to bring back the AARP tie.
Oh.
Yeah, that it's got an outdated logo.
Oh.
Brand police will get me.
I think you could wear it once.
No. Nope.
3 priorities. Okay.
I would also like to point out that this first episode was 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
This one is going to be an hour.
Wait.
Yeah, the first one was like 3 minutes long.
The second one, I think, was 5 minutes, like 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
What did we even talk about?
We used to average about like 12 minutes, I think.
You basically gave these priorities and some
and
of the
left.
goals and said, see you next week.
My advice to everybody at home is to don't go watch that. Or you could. I'd have a good chuckle. Look at that quality.
You'll have to dig deep into the AARP Indiana Facebook archive, because I believe if you go to the website for legislative director talking about legislative things, it will take you there.
I think I'm
straight to Facebook.
Okay, I got mine.
All right.
No, I can't see yours.
Oh, I'm not ready yet. I have one more to put down.
And you can, I mean, you know, it's really bonus points. If you get any of them, it's a bonus.
Well, not for me. This is how I gotta. Oh,
that's fair.
This is my only chance to get back in this game.
I'm gonna take another guess.
Okay.
Let's see. I can't come up with a third one.
It's okay.
All right. I wrote something down. It's not going to
All right.
It'll be fine.
Do you guys want to share, or do you want to see the answers first?
Should we see each other's answers here?
You're not going to be able to read mine.
I can't read that.
Transit.
Okay. That's a good one.
Was like,
that's a good one.
That we killed a bill that was going to dismantle
that's a good one.
Indianapolis Transit.
Not on my list.
I had removal of the collaborative agreement for APRNs.
I got that, APRNs.
Okay. And then I had housing.
And then I put food insecurity, because at one point in time I felt like we had worked on something like that. And then I put payday lending, because I feel like that's been around forever.
Oh, that might be true.
Let's see.
All right.
I could be 0 for 3, which would be the theme of this show.
Look at those pictures.
I know.
So you guys listed your top 3 priorities in 2018 session as workplace flexibility, APRN scope of practice, and access to healthy foods.
I only got one.
I got 2. That's what I'm talking about. But that's not enough. I needed to get 3 to really make some headway there.
Workplace flexibility, or paid leave.
Yeah, paid leave for those of you that have been with the show since the beginning.
Access to healthy foods in 2018. Wow. Were we still? Wow. Okay. All right. No, I love it.
That was good.
This one was hard.
That was a good one.
Yes, I thought that one was going to be quite tricky.
And I'm only saying that because I got 2 out of the 3 right. If I had got all 3 wrong, that's garbage. Is what it is.
Well, I clearly almost got all 3 wrong.
And well, that was awesome. And you know what? These boards are fun.
I did too. I like it.
Yep.
Thank you, Anna.
I guys enjoyed it.
We'll
see what
always great to have
next
you.
Week.
But I'm actually going to have you stay on here so you can partake in this
okay.
surprise video for Amber Marr. We're going to put it up on screen right now. Here we go. A little quick one for you. It's a nice little throwback. We'll leave it to... Here we go. This is fantastic stuff. 6 years later, here we go. It's still going. It's still going.
The relationship hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed at all. We'll have to give a shout out to Representative Van Adder for that, for being a good sport. Actually, he doesn't even know that we showed that, but we'll have to tell him next time we see him.
I'll tell him. He did give us, but I think we haven't said this in a really long time.
Yeah.
But he did give approval.
He did.
For us to have him in the intro because of that.
Yes.
And so I'm going to assume that this next one, even though he didn't approve it yet, it's not as bad. So of course he's going to be like, sure.
So we wanted to do a little celebration because that has been a staple of the intro since this show launched. And then we have now 6 years later been able to recreate it, if you will,
but again,
almost to the same thing.
We didn't know.
Yes, she did not know I was recording that.
The first one was real. The second one is real.
Nothing was fake about it.
True relationship.
A true relationship. So we wanted to put that on the screen. So thank you.
Thank you. I can't wait. Hopefully I can get that clip and I'll send it to him.
Yeah, we'll get
He'll
it to
enjoy
you.
that.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Anna,
That was fun.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
A little trip down memory lane in more ways than one. Good to get a couple of points on the board finally after some struggles last week.
Wait, so what's the finals? We'll have to
Look,
wait. We'll wait.
Tune in next week to see the updated big board. Either way, you're still in the lead.
I think it's 8 to 8.5.
I don't know. We'll see.
You got 2 points.
Yeah, but you only got one, so I don't really.
Oh,
gain
9. So I'm at 9. You're at.
I think you're at 10.
You're at
8.
10. You
You're
got
at 10.
2 points.
You got 2 points.
You basically kept the gap
Oh!
the same because
The same.
you both got 2 points total.
Yeah.
I forgot I got the first one right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You forgot.
You did.
Forgot. Okay.
I did.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
We'll get that scoreboard updated for next week for you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Perfect.
Anna.
Thank
As
you,
always.
Anna.
Bye.
Bye. Now we are going to come to the next segment, which is continuing our chats with folks that have been in and around the General Assembly for a long time. Still focusing on our media friends. It's Niki Kelly, who is the editor-in-chief of the Indiana Capital Chronicle, which we have cited many times on this show and encourage you to check it out. Amber and I sat down with her to have a nice conversation about her time in working in the General Assembly as a reporter and all that fun stuff. A lot of good stories, some good insight. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. She's great.
She's amazing.
I
was kind of fangirling out.
We both were fangirling out. We're both big fans.
I sort of had to admit that, I have her on anytime she puts something on X or Twitter, I get
You
alerted.
get the notification.
I'm like, oh, what did she say now? What's happening?
I think she appreciated that. Which actually, you probably should all do that because she's always
it's really good insight and information.
Real-time stuff.
Yeah, especially when we're all in other committees and there's other things happening across the State House. It's just really nice.
Want to know what's going on?
I mean, I follow other individuals in the media as well.
Yeah, not to, but Niki for sure.
Yes, on alert.
Awesome. All right. Well, here is our interview or in conversation with Niki Kelly. Now we are continuing our discussions with people, we like, and that's why we're bringing them on the show. People that we like that have been in and around the General Assembly for a little while, have some good insights, and like I said, just all around good people.
Yeah.
And so the next person that we're bringing on board today to chat is Niki Kelly. She's the editor-in-chief of the Indiana Capital Chronicle. I'll let her give it I won't read her bio stuff here, but she can get into some of that. But she's been around the Indiana General Assembly for a long time, really knows her stuff, and we have consistently cited the Indiana Capital Chronicle a lot on this show because we're big fans. So I'm going to reach across here. I'm going to bring her on screen. Niki.
Hello.
Thank you for joining our little show here to chat with us. We've known each other a little while now. I feel like it's been
Yep.
I've been around this for a little bit as well. So this is great to get this opportunity to kind of chat with you about this. So we'll start with kind of a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? What are you up to now? Besides, running a media outlet, just tell us a little bit, tell the folks out there that are maybe, as we said when we chatted with Dan Spieler last week, we're already super fans. Everybody out there is now going to become super fans of yours. So let's get them.
If they weren't already. See, I had to correct you on this last time.
This is going to become a thing. So
she has a lot of super fans.
She does. Niki, tell us a little bit, I guess, about you.
Well, I like to say I was born in Ohio, so a Buckeye, but I'm definitely a Hoosier now. I may have lived in Indiana far longer than I ever lived in Ohio, and never really wanted to go back. I really enjoy it here. So, in fact, I had my parents move over here live with me. So, I'm doing my part to improve Indiana's population growth.
We appreciate it.
I went to college at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, the most beautiful school in the world. And I knew I wanted to do journalism. I'm not exactly sure how early it was, maybe 7th, 8th grade, something like that. I like to write and I just really enjoyed that. And so I got my first job out of college at a small newspaper in Ohio, and then moved to the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, where I did a little bit of everything. I was in a bureau So I really cut my teeth there, and it helps a lot for this job, because when you're in a bureau, I was covering like a 2 to 4 county area, depending on the time. And, you're covering a murder in the morning and a school board meeting at night. So, you get a lot of on the ground training quickly. And then I was our court reporter for a while at the Journal Gazette when we had a bureau down here in Indy covering the State House. And we had a regular full-time reporter, but there was this was 1999, and they were supposed to rewrite the property tax code because it had been found unconstitutional. And it was also a budget year. And so they came to the decision that they would send a second person down and, to help out. And, I got addicted pretty quick. I really loved the pace and what I loved most and still love about the State House is every day is a new topic, a new bill, a new issue. And even all these years later, as I'm learning new laws that I weren't aware of, or, things like that. So I love the breadth of the topics you get to write about. Obviously, I prefer policy a little more than politics, but obviously politics are part of the job as well. Mm-hmm. So that is how I became a Hoosier.
That's amazing.
Well, that is, first of all, welcome, even though you've been here for a long time. But
I can't say welcome because I'm also a transplant.
Yes, but
I'm like you. I've been here longer than I lived. Yeah.
So you got Niki's coming from Ohio, you coming from Illinois, mm-hmm. Me coming from the region, which is, most people don't like to think it's part of Indiana. But so you touched a little bit on, like, you got down here, not to jump ahead into like issue areas things, but I will just on this question, because it reminded me and I don't want to forget it because that happens sometimes. You talked about 1999, your first session here, and they're talking about property taxes.
Yeah.
It is 2025 and we're still talking about property taxes. Kind of
I've been through multiple rounds of property tax reform. Obviously back then it was, now we're kind of talking about cuts and what I would call smaller changes, but back then it was the entire assessment system was found unconstitutional. So we had to change how we assessed property and, how that would work. I also obviously went through the introduction of the property tax caps under Mitch Daniels. And now this is sort of my third big go at property taxes, but it never goes away in the meantime. It's sort of cyclical as it goes up and down, and people, have gripes with their bills, and some of those gripes are fair, and some are just part of the system, and that's the way it's designed.
Yeah. So now just because I didn't want to forget that question, but backing up. So Indiana Capital Chronicle, you are now, is this year 3 entered into? Tell us a little, I guess we were talking a little bit beforehand, before we started before we hit record, like how I'm fascinated by this, because I feel like it's kind of this new frontier in journalism. It's kind of like a new model, if you will, from what your normal, like, newspapers, TV, radio, like that kind of stuff, and just this kind of media outlet. And obviously we're big fans. We're always citing your work. You and your team are all over the place covering so much stuff that's happening at State House. I'm just interested in how that all came about. Like, was that something that you sought out? Did they come, like your parent company? Like, I want to hear all about it. Sorry.
Yeah. So, no, it kind of happened quickly, and it was 2022, and I was just going through session, and someone had mentioned that a group called States Newsroom was going to open an outlet in Indiana, and they had put out a press release about it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to learn a little bit about them. And so just so we have some background on States Newsroom, their predecessor organization was established back in like 2004. And then they split off and became an actual nonprofit in 2019. And their focus was state government and state level policy and politics. They basically believed that The national was getting plenty of attention, and even the local was getting good attention, but somewhere in the middle, we had lost this focus on the state. And I know I saw that from the Journal-Gazette when I first started in 99. We had bureau reporters who were here year-round from like all the major cities in the state, South Bend and Gary and New Albany, Louisville and Evansville. Everyone had their own reporters here, and slowly those bureaus all closed and TV stopped covering it as much. They, and so there really was a dearth of state news. So the state's newsroom did appeal to me in that way. I didn't really have any experience with nonprofit journalism. I think it was definitely very new in 2019. So in 2022, I saw the posting. I sent a quick email and said, hey, I'd be interested in learning more. Obviously, when you've covered the State House as long as me, you start to think about the next level. I still loved what I did, but I was curious about getting into editing. But I also didn't know where there were limited options to stay in Indy and stay in editing. And so, I met with them, and this was like the perfect thing for me. I got to challenge myself and go to a new role, but also stay around state government and the State House, which I love so much. So we have a staff of 4, me and 3 reporters. And we basically, we have a newsletter every morning, free. There's no paywalls on our site. We do obviously accept donations and encourage that. But yeah, so it's been pretty great to see the response. I think we're doing a great job. And I also think we're part of a renaissance. Some other journalism outlets have come, some nonprofits, some not. The Star seemed to reinvest in its own state coverage as a result. So I think it's great for all Hoosiers. And one thing that makes us a tiny bit different is we have something called a Creative Commons license. And what that means is any outlet around the state can run our content for free. Yeah. And so, yes, we have our website, but, we're running in 100 places a week, around the state and sometimes nationally. And so that's my goal. That's what I like, because I think all Hoosiers deserve to, know what their government's doing, good and bad. And there's definitely good stuff that they do. And we've done some fun features, and we very much focus on a lot of different bills, and we try not to just be about sort of the big scandal or sensation of the day. So,
well, excuse me, I'm glad that you all are here, because like I said, there is so much, because I do remember kind of what you're talking about. When I was first knocking around that building, there was, everybody there's like the little shacks in the basement, as they're called. And there was reporters from all the large cities, all the large publications. And then one by one, kind of all started disappearing. So it's exciting to kind of see that here in Indy and Indiana, that kind of, like, as you said, like renaissance with some of this, and to see that your stuff be able to be picked up elsewhere.
Yeah. In layman's terms, almost like a wire service.
Yeah.
Yep. Associated Press has, doesn't really, they don't have a State House reporter anymore. And I think, I'm not even sure they have a reporter in the state anymore. And so, and a lot of smaller newspapers had to stop paying for AP anyway. They couldn't afford it. And so I think I'm proud that we're filling a gap and can bring the news to Hoosiers all around.
Well, I know I mentioned this before we started recording too, but our volunteer legislative team that is with us every other Monday at the State House, we oftentimes point them to your articles if they have not been able to witness a committee hearing, because it is so well written. It's to the point, it's factual, and we just love being able to do that so they can catch up quickly and know where to go to get that information. So we appreciate that, and they appreciate it too. So.
Thanks.
Yeah. Did you want to? I'm asking all the questions here.
Well, I can just ask. Yeah. Well, I know you kind of touched on, as you were talking about your past and kind of how you got to where you are today, about the General Assemblies that you've been through. But we are just curious, like, if you have a session that is one of the most interesting ones that you've been through or that you remember covering.
Okay, so I get this question a lot, and I can't give you one. So I'm going to give you a couple. Do we have a time limit on this thing?
Yeah. Look, all the time you want. We'll break this up into 2 parts if we have to. Is how I look at it.
No, I'm going to point to sort of 3. The first is, I would say, the first 2 sessions under Mitch Daniels were incredible to cover, because that was directly after 16 years of Democrat control. So Republicans were going in, and they were going in hard to change virtually everything in state government. And included in those 2 years were leasing the Indiana toll road, moving to daylight savings time. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we were doing the first 2 years for Mitch Daniels. So those were incredible to cover. I would say 2011, I think, when the House Democrats walked out.
Yep.
Okay.
Halting all legislative business for a month. That was crazy. I'd never, and we would sit in then Representative Bauer's office as minority leader, and he was in Illinois in a hotel, because that's where they all went, and we would have all our recorders around a phone and do press conferences with him every day. And then we'd go over to Bosma, and then we'd see what Speaker Bosma had to say. And that was surreal. And then the last one I have to say, and today happens to be the 10-year anniversary of the RFRA issue that happened in 2015 that absolutely enveloped the state in a national firestorm. And the actual firestorm was only like 10 days, but it was at such a level of heat and chaos that I don't think I'll ever cover anything like that again.
I did see your tweet about that today.
So that's
speaking of super fans.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love it. That's funny. And maybe this is now dating myself, which is fine. But I remember all those things.
Me too.
So
I was like, as she was talking, I was like, well, I was there.
I remember that.
I was there.
I remember that. So those are all great picks.
They are, yes.
So you've talked a little bit now about a couple of, you talked about Governor Daniels and some of the other, and you've covered several governors. And you can probably speak to kind of the historical perspective on this too, is with Governor Braun now this is his first couple months as governor, his first session as governor. Obviously, he was a member of the Indiana General Assembly at one point in time. But I guess, how do you feel like that relationship, how that has gone so far?
You mean just between the media and the executive?
Well, I'm talking about just between the Indiana General Assembly and the governor.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested in hearing on how your relationship with the media is as well.
It's
we always see.
It's a little different over the years. I think this is my 6th governor I've covered now. So, O'Bannon was sort of Governor Frank O'Bannon, who died in office, unfortunately. He was sort of like a grandfatherly figure, and there wasn't a lot of like spicy stuff going on between he and the legislature, right? Governor Joe Kernan, who's also passed away since then. He was definitely more of a spitfire. He was hilarious. I think he got along pretty well with the legislature. Governor Mike Pence, first Governor Daniels, I would say, now when his first 2 years, Democrats controlled the House. So that seems so crazy right now, right? Because we have majorities in both the House and Senate. So there was definitely some pushback during some of those years, because we had split power, and Daniels wanted to go fast and hard and, make real substantive changes. So I do remember Governor Daniels getting mad one time and calling them car bombers, the Democrats. And then it was funny, Governor Daniels in the beginning was real open, and we would meet for years. All the press met with the governors on Fridays. They were like weekly availabilities during session. We would talk about the bills that moved and their agendas and, whatever issues we wanted to ask about. And I do know that there was quite a difference between first term Governor Mitch Daniels and second term Governor Mitch Daniels. He learned that, you had to save some of the fire and not to give too much, still answer questions. And he's, of all the governors I've covered, I mean, the governor who could answer every single question without needing any staff backup, he was on it. Governor Pence was perhaps one of the harder people to cover. He got along fine with the legislature because he showed a lot of deference. I mean, he came from the legislative branch himself, so he would set up what he liked to call guardrails or a path, or he'd say, like, I want this big goal of reducing business property, or we want to eliminate business property, personal property taxes. That was his one year, but he wouldn't say how. And so as a journalist, we were all frustrated because we'd say, okay, well, that, where do these local governments get money for that? And he just, he'd say that was up to the legislature. So as a journalist, he was hard to cover because, he can stick to a talking point and you cannot get him off of it. And I remember once he had this habit of always at the end of like a press event or whatever, he would say, all right, you guys got everything you need? You good? And one day I just said to him, no, I'm not. You have answered none of my questions. And he thought I was joking. I was like, no, I'm not joking. Governor Holcomb was a little bit more like Governor Daniels than Governor Pence was. Now, he had obviously the worst relationship with the legislature. And I think he had a pretty good relationship with them up until COVID. And when he came down on the side of, science and closures and, limiting spread, he really made a lot of enemies. And I think his vetoes were overturned more than any other governor in history. And so that was definitely a rough legislative governor relationship. Now we have Governor Braun, who I have been surprised at kind of how fun it is to cover him. I wasn't necessarily expecting him. I'm not sure how to say it. He's just been a lot more fiery than I thought, a lot more say what he wants and, put pressure on them. Like he's really called out Republicans who have been in that building for the last 10 years on various things that he thinks they've let get out of control. And so, but yet so far he seems to be keeping pretty good relationships with them. I know I've talked to a couple legislators who said they never once met with Eric Holcomb personally, like in his office, and they have with Braun now. So, yeah.
Well, great. I loved
the rundown.
The rundown was awesome because it just kind of it just shows like how much it can change from person to person, and sometimes those differences can make a big deal. Now this current session, we are, we're obviously more than halfway through.
We have like a month left.
We have like a month. Yeah, it is like about a month left. What has stood out to you so far this session? Maybe also like anything that's been discussed or not been discussed that you thought was going to, just what are the vibes right now for this session? I mean,
I think the vibes are pretty basic average session. Nothing like too contentious. I think we knew going in that the big topics were going to be the budget and property taxes and Medicaid. And those have been the big topics. We really haven't gotten bogged down in other social topics, an occasional thing here and there, but they've really, focused on their priority bills, and healthcare obviously has a lot of bills and moving in many different places. And so I guess I'd throw that in as a fourth in terms of, an area we're seeing a lot of work done on.
Did you have
No, I was just going to say, those are, honestly, that was everything we kind of talked about moving into session, and it really has shaken out that way, where we are seeing that those have become some of the top issues and continuing to be and will be through conference committee, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember, a number of years, there's usually something that kind of pops up in the last month. So I guess that could still happen, like a surprise. But I remember one year it was randomly whether gas stations could sell cold beer, I think.
Oh, I think I remember this one.
Right? It was like this Rickers thing, and it just popped up out of nowhere. And we were like, what is this? One year I remember there was a big puppy mill thing that got real heated. So we still have time for something to be surprising. But now I will say the last week it's getting a little more interesting. You know how it goes toward the end. They start putting language in random places that may or may not actually relate to the bill. And so, part of our job as a team is to be in different committees as much as we can, because you don't know what, we didn't know that we would put an amendment in yesterday to ban marijuana advertising in the state, in a B&B bill. So,
this is getting into the silly season, if you will, with regards to some of that stuff. Because we always talk about that when we're talking about bills that, we're like, well, it's dead-ish. It could show up somewhere else.
I would say the bill is dead, but the concept would be alive.
Can show up in other places. Yeah, so it is that kind of time of year where you there's always something that could still pop up. So
I agree.
Well, this has been delightful.
Has been lovely.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I know how busy you are. And chatting with us about this. Anything else you want to add? Like I said, we're definitely we're big fans of the publication, so we always plug it all the time on the show. So anything you need that you want to put out there?
No, I don't think so. I just say stay tuned. I mean, I will say the biggest one, I don't think we're going to see anything crazy with the budget, but the property tax final version is really going to be kind of a surprise in that we don't know where they're going, yet. We had two or three different proposals so far. And so on a personal level, I'm most excited to see how that one turns out for Hoosiers.
Yeah.
I think that's also where we're definitely interested there too.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks are interested in that.
And I didn't even get a chance to ask you. I mean, we can all sort of take a guess, but I think it's April 16th when we'll find out what the forecast looks like, right? So then that will also maybe make the budget stay the way that they have already been talking about, or it could change some things. I don't know. Do you have any comment on what you think that might look like?
Yeah, I know. I was just listening to a hearing this morning in which they put an amendment in that had a fiscal, and they said, I know it has a fiscal, but we're really hoping that April forecast is going to mean we have some more money to play with. So everyone's hoping that it's going to improve. We shall see.
Exactly.
It's a lot writing.
I will say the revenue forecast really shouldn't impact the property tax discussion because it's just different pots of money. But it could impact maybe a few more programs they could fund, in the state budget that they might not otherwise be able to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been fun. We'll have to have you on again sometime if you're so inclined. Maybe after we get through session.
Yes,
absolutely.
We got to get that over with first.
I appreciate you taking the time during session, and we'll obviously can't say enough about you and your team.
Yes.
We appreciate you and the work that you're doing, and we'll look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for coming back. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Niki. It was great. We keep on saying great. I know. I'm sorry.
I haven't said it once.
I've been saying it.
I don't think I've said it once this episode.
Look at that. True professional.
We'll have to go back and make sure, but I don't think I've said it once.
I love it.
I'm trying so hard not to use it.
You're doing fantastic.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Niki. We sure did. A lot of kind of similar experiences from when years ago when we were in around that place. It was lovely conversation. She's a lovely person as well. Encourage you all to check out her and her team's work at the Indiana Capital Chronicle.
Yes.
Anything else before we go?
I don't think so.
Awesome. Oh, wait. I mean, it's not awesome that you don't have anything else, but
no, I just have one other thing, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, because I'm about to. Sorry, I'm reaching for my notes that are really far away. I am about to go sit on a panel for the Indiana Philanthropy Leadership Institute, and we're going to talk about ARP and some of our advocacy work and why advocacy is so important. So wanted to give a shout out to them for having me on the panel and to say a huge thank you, and we can talk more about it next week.
Amber is on the lecture circuit. Love it.
I don't know about that.
It's we're gonna get you some more speaking gigs.
I don't think so.
I think so. If you have one, reach out. We'll see we can book her. Put it in the comments.
That's a big NO, okay?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I'm really done now.
She's super done. All right. Well, until next time on the Legislative Director, talking about legislative things. We'll see you then.